All right. I'm on my last two boxes of Brothers War. Get this stuff open and find the last Transformers. I want a Cyclonus in the shattered glass because he looks like my boy Hot Rod. And I want a Megatron just because I like the way he looks. If I can get any of the Meek Stone, Power Stone, the Urza Meld card, that'd be cool because I haven't gotten. I've gotten the Urza, I've got the Land for the green one. I think I got the Mishra, but I didn't get any of the good stuff. Like the stuff that makes them work past that. I've gotten just half so far. So the goal is to hopefully get the second half of each of those in these packs. We have a set booster box and a collector booster box that will get torn open. So let's see what we got. Our card. Oh, it's an assembler thing? Self-assembler, yes. Beautiful Plains. Scrapwork Rager. When it ETBs, you draw a card and lose one life. That's something. Carrion Locust. When it ETBs, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. If it was a creature card, that player loses one life. Aeronaut Cavalry. When it ETBs, put a +1/+1 counter on another target soldier you control. Wing Commando. Flying Prowess. Whenever a non-creature spell is cast, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Swiftgear Drake. Flying. Haste. When it ETBs, put up to one target card from a graveyard onto the bottom of its owner's library. Battlefield Butcher. Each opponent loses 2 life. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature card in your graveyard, because 5 is a lot. Static Net. Enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until Static Net leaves the battlefield. When Static Net enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and create a tap Power Stone token. Fyric Blast. An additional cost to cast this spell, sack a creature. Fyric Blast does damage equal to the sacrifice creature's power to any target. Draw a card. Sigil of Valor. When equipped creature attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each other equipped creature you control. Hey, one of the cards I needed. Look at that. First pack. Mightstone, Weakstone. One of the ETBs, you choose one. Draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. And you can also tap it for 2 colorless, and it's like a Power Stone, so you can't use it for anything but activating abilities and stuff. And there's the Urza stuff. Hoarding Recluse. Reach Death Touch. When Hoarding Recluse dies, put one other target card from a graveyard onto the bottom of its owner's library. Counters. Move this out this way. These may be over here. Next to Soundwave, where they belong by the Transformers. Ah, the thing that give colorless and artifact spells flash. Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. Land. Blanchwood Prowler. When it ETBs, mill 3 cards. You may put a land card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on Blanchwood Prowler. That's right. We move that over there now. Yeah. I'm going to have trouble with this. Retrieval Agent. 2 gets +1/-1 until end of turn. It's 2/5. 4 mana. Recommission. Return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If a creature enters the battlefield this way, it gets an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Clay Revenant. ETB's tapped, and you can pay 3 mana to return it from the graveyard to your hand. Su-Chi Cave Guard. Vigilance, Ward 4. When it dies, add 8 colorless. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Hulking Metamorph. You may have Hulking Metamorph enter the battlefield as a copy of an artifact or creature you control, except as an artifact creature in addition to its other types. And its power and toughness are equal to Hulking Metamorph's power and toughness. Heavyweight Demolisher. Menace. Beginning of your upkeep. Tap Heavyweight Demolisher unless you pay 3. It's unearthed for 8. Yikes. Oh, we got Prowl. There we go. Another bot. So, whenever Prowl attacks, you can exile one other tapped target creature or vehicle. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owners may play it. Whenever a player plays a card exiled with Prowl, draw a card and convert Prowl. Whenever another creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowl. The second time this ability is resolved this turn, convert Prowl. I feel like you can build some stuff with him, but the triggers might not be enough. I was thinking of a Staxi like Drannith Magistrate. Hopefully just exile your opponent's creatures and stuff, and then they can't actually recast them. You know, something dumb and gross. Ichor Wellspring. When Ichor Wellspring enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard, draw a card. Terezlian Mindbreaker. Teresian? When Teresian Mindbreaker attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded up. Yeah, that's gross. Mass Production. Create 4 1/1 colorless artifact soldier creature tokens. Token for the tokens. Some dude. Tamako Honor Guard. That's the guy. Tamako Scrapsmith. When he enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact card from among those cards milled this way into your hand. If you don't, put a 1/1 counter on this Scrapsmith. Emergency Weld. Return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand and create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Veteran's Power Blade. Equipped gets +2/+0, and it's 1 white to equip to a soldier and 2 to equip to anything else. Tawnos' Tinkering. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control. Untap that permanent. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 creature in addition to its other types. Cradle Clearcutter. Tap to add mana equal to Cradle Clearcutter's power. Combat Thresher. When Combat Thresher enters the battlefield, draw a card and it has double strike. Iron Craw Crusher. When Iron Craw Crusher attacks, target attacking creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the Iron Craw Crusher's power. Sardian Avenger. It's a commander card. First strike trample. When Sardian Avenger attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts an opponent controls. Whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, Sardian Avenger deals 1 damage to that player. That's nice. Ooh, Platinum Angel. Flying, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. That's a Ron card. Brotherhood's End. Choose 1. Brotherhood's End deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, or destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Legion to Ashes. Exile. Target non-land permanent an opponent controls, and all tokens a player controls with the same name as that permanent. Power Stone token. Oh yeah. Robot with a signature. Rust Goliath. Land. Warlord's Elite. As an additional cost to cast this spell, tap 2 untapped artifact creatures or lands you control. Conscripted Infantry. When Conscripted Infantry dies, create a 1/1 colorless soda artifact creature token. Supply Drop. Flash. When Supply Drop enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You can sacrifice the Supply Drop and draw a card for 4 mana. Goblin Firebomb. Flash. 7 and sack it. 7 tap and sack to destroy target permanent. Haywire Might. When it dies, gain 2 life. You can pay green and sack it and exile target non-artifact, non-creature enchantment. Balaji Dragon Engine. Flying. When the Dragon Engine, pay 2, and the Dragon Engine gets +1/+0 till end of turn. You can do that as many times as you can afford. Gurgling Anointer. Flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Gargling Anointer. When it dies, return another target creature with mana value less than or equal to the Gargling Anointer's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Spotter Thopter. When it ETBs, scry X, or X is its power. Chromatic Star. Sacrifice Chromatic Star for a mana. When Chromatic Star is put in the graveyard for the battlefield, draw a card. That's at least a minor perk. Underground River, colorless or 1 damage, and you get it one or black or blue. Whirling Strike, target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn, gains first strike and trample till end of turn. Dun, 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 dun. Well, at least I got the artifact that I needed for my Urza. So Urza can now be melded. Ah! Throwing shit, knocking it all over. I'm a mess. I am a train wreck. Blackblade Reforged. Swamp. Combat Courier. Sacrifice Combat Courier, draw a card. It's blue to unearth it. Jotun Medic. Lifelink. Air Marshal. Target soldier gains flying until end of turn. Goblin Blast Runner. Gets +2/+0 and has menace as long as you sacrifice the permanent this turn. Thopter Mechanic. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Thopter Mechanic. Thopter Mechanic dies, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Thopter Architect. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, a target creature gains flying until end of turn. Arms Race. You may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. That artifact gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Ah, I love to see it. Unwinding Clock. This is one of my favorite cards because I've definitely come to enjoy artifacts in the last few months, building a few different artifact decks. That's a beautiful thing. Every upkeep, it's basically Seedborn Muse, but for artifacts. And then you just put out the Microsynth Lattice, and everything you have is an artifact. Mishra's Bauble. Sacrifice the Bauble. Look at the top card of target player's library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. Skystrike Officer. Flying. Whenever it attacks, you create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Tap 3 untapped soldiers you control to draw a card. Airlift Chaplain. I think I saw this one already, but let's read it anyway. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You may put a plains card or a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among the cards milled this way into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on the Chaplain. Ah, Mirror Gallery. I'm sad that this card is as cheap as it is now, because I paid a good amount of money. I think I paid like $15 for it a few months ago. Maybe a year ago. Probably a year ago. But the legend rule does not apply, and it's 5 mana. Now Mirror Box is here, and it's considerably better. Like, no question. Way better. Can't win them all. But I'd rather the price go down than it stay stupid and high. The game first, I think. Let's see what we got. We got a guy. That's a Mishra, I think, right? Yeah, Mishra, Excavation Prodigy. Hey, I'm learning cards. Swamp. Whirling Strike. We've seen Unleash Shell. That's really, I feel like they just take the S off. Unleash Shell deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker and 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Excavation Explosion deals 3 damage to any target. Create a tapped Power Stone token. Energy Refractor. Great with those Power Stones. When an ETBs, draw a card and then you dump Power Stone mana into it and you get regular mana out in any color you want. It's like a gift. Here you go. Merry Christmas. Tap 2 target artifacts and or creatures. Put 2 stun counters on them. Keep them tapped for a long time. Defabricate. Choose one. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. Spells counter this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Counter target activated or triggered ability. So it's a Stifle. It's actually probably playable. I feel like that's definitely playable, actually, since just because it has the Stifle on it as well. And it's not 3 mana like Disallow. Slagstone Refinery. When in Refinery or another token artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, or is put into exile from the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. Swiftfoot Booties. Sigil of Valor. I haven't seen that one. Ah, there you go. Kayla's Reconstruction. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to X artifact and or creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. Evangel of Synthesis. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Evangel of Synthesis gets +1/+0 and has Manus. Manus. Soldier token. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see. The Foundry. Plains. Balaji Chain Dancer. Pay 2 and it gains double strike until end of turn. Military Discipline. Flash, enchant creature. When military discipline enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains first strike until end of turn. Gets +1/+0. Perimeter Patrol. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, perimeter control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Forging the Anchor. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of artifact cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Then put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Recruitment Officer. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Jotun Dissident. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Mass Production. Create 4 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. Beautiful Ashnod's Altar. Sack a creature and make 2 manas. Wormcoil. Sweet, that's a good one. Good for some tokens. When the Wormcoil engine dies, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Worm artifact creature token with Death Touch, and a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Worm artifact creature token with Lifelink. It's like you just break this thing in pieces, and it becomes new things. Which is exactly the idea, I think. As long as it's your turn, this spell costs 3 more to cast. Oh, as long as it's not your turn, this spell costs 3 more to cast. That's terrible. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands and the turn. Tragmogorant's Crown. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever a equipped creature dies, draw a card. Wizard class. You have no maximum hand size. When it becomes level 2, draw 2 cards. When it becomes level 3, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It seems so soon to be putting D&D cards in the list, whether it's old D&D or new D&D. Ramos, the Dragon Engine. Nice. Swamp. Philology Archaeologist. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You may put a non-creature, non-land card from among those cards milled this way into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on the Archaeologist. Curate, Surveil 2. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Draw a card. Well, you look at them and you could put them in the graveyard. Or not. Powerstone Fracture. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact to creature, destroy target creature or artifact, creature or planeswalker. Prison Sentence. Enchant creature. When prison sentence enters the battlefield, scry 2. Enchanted creature can attack or block or activate abilities. Ashnod's Intervention. Until the end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0, and when this creature dies, put into exile from the battlefield, or is put into the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. Splitting the Power Stone. An additional cost to cast this spell, sack an artifact. Create 2 tap Power Stone tokens. The sacrifice artifact was a legend. You can also get to draw a card. Take Flight. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. And whenever this creature attacks, draw a card. Corrupt. Deals damage to any target equal to the number of swamps you control. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Ornithopter. We've known what that is. Brushland. Quite a spike. Equipped creature has Death Touch. Oh, when the equipped creature does combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. Ugh, gross. Power Stone Shard. Add colorless for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. That could be fun. Making that happen. Let's get more robots. Come on, where are they? What is this? Another Rust Golem? Depth Charge Colossus. Mountain. Latinam Adept. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Latinam Adept. The Union of the Third Pass. Draw a card, then you gain life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Desynchronized. Target non-land permanent owner Target non-land permanent's owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Scry 2. Calamity's Wake. Exile all graveyards. Players can't cast non-creature spells this turn. Exile Calamity's Wake. Lay down arms. Target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of planes you control. Its controller gains 3 life. Gruesome Realization. Choose one. You draw 2 cards, and you lose 2 life. For creatures your opponents control, get -1/-1 till end of turn. Dreams of Steel and Oil. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from among it, then choose an artifact or creature from among their graveyard. Exile chosen cards. Evangel of Synthesis. Cloud Key. ETBs. You choose artifact, creature, enchantment, instant, or sorcery. The chosen type is 1 cheaper to cast. Autonomous Assembler. Vigilance. Pay 1, put a +1/+1 counter on target assembly worker you control, which could be this thing. Battlefield Butcher. Each opponent loses 2 life. This ability costs, we've seen this one. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature in your graveyard. Oh, that goes in this pile. That goes there. That's that. Let's see what we got. Get rid of that. Thopter Mechanic, yeah. Evolving Wilds. Burrowing Razormaw. When the Burrowing Razormaw dies, mill 4 cards. Trench Stalker. As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Trench Stalker has Death Touch and Lifelink. Demolition Field. Colorless. Pay 2, sacrifice Demolition Field, destroy target non-basic land and opponent controls. That land's controller may search their library for a basic land card and put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. You may search your library for a basic land card and put it in the battlefield, then shuffle. Everybody gets the land. Really hope I get that something welcoming. The thing that's like welcoming vampires, I think believe in uncommon. Choose target opponent, destroy target land that player controls. The Fall of Karug deals 3 damage to that player and 1 damage to each creature they control. Go for the Throat. Nice kill spell. Destroy target non-artifact creature. Disciples of Gix. When Disciples of Gix enters the battlefield, search your library for 3 artifact cards and put them in the graveyard and shuffle. Shrek Altar. Pay a black, sack a creature, add 3 colorless. Pay 2 and tap, sack a creature, create a 3/3 zombie artifact creature token, activate only as a sorcery. Burnished Heart. Pay 3, sack the heart, and search for 2 basics. 2 basics? Up to 2 basic land cards. Put them in the battlefield. Then shuffle. Tyrant of Kir Ridges. Flying. When Tyrant of Kir Ridges enters the battlefield, deal 4 damage to any target. Pay a red and it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. You can do that till you're out of mana. Bitter Reunion. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. You pay 1 and sack it, and creatures you control gain haste till end of turn. Look at all that value. There's a pumping card. Okay. There's a card. Thing. Schwamp. Costa's Onulet. When it leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. It has Unearth, so you can bring it on back. Wasteful Harvest. Mill 5 cards and put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. Airlift Chaplain, we've seen. Thoraxodemon. That's a cool name. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Draw a card after paying 3 and tapping this. No one left behind. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature with mana value 3 or less. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Haywire Might. We've seen this one. Involuntary cooldown. Monetary Swiftspear. Reprint, I believe. Haste. Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Phyrexian Revoker. When it enters the battle card, choose a non-land card name. Activate abilities of sources with that chosen name can't be activated. Awaken the Woods. Create X/1/1 green forest dryad tokens. Carrion Locust. We've seen. Junk card. Getting there, going through quickly. I want more Transformers. Where are my bots? I mean, I know a Millstone. I know I'll see more bots in the collector box, but I want more everywhere, just all the time. Power Stone Engineer. When he dies, create a tap Power Stone token. Fog of War. Gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures with power 3 or less. Santal Stalwart. Tap an untapped artifact or creature you control, add 1 mana of any color, but you can only do it once. Obstinate Baloth. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. If a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Obstinate Baloth, put it on the battlefield instead of putting it in the graveyard. Skyfisher Spider. Reach. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, to destroy target non-land permanent. When Skyfisher Spider dies, you may gain 1 life for each creature card in your graveyard. If you do, exile Skyfisher Spider from the graveyard. Gnawing Vermin. Enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. When it dies, target creature you don't control gets +1/+1, or -1/-1 till end of turn. That'd be dumb if it was +1. When Junkyard Genius enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. Sack another creature or artifact until end of turn after paying 3 mana. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace until end of turn. Ultra Magnus, another bot. He's the guy that gets to cheat stuff into play. He has Ward 2. When he attacks, you may put an artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. If you do, convert him. Whenever Ultra Magnus attacks, attacking creature you control gain indestructible until end of turn. If those creatures have a total power of 8 or greater, convert Ultra Magnus. So you would attack, convert him, and then you would not trigger the back till the next attack step. That's how I understand how all that works. But he has haste, and I'm sure you can make gross things happen. Self-assembler, like the first art card we have. When it ETBs, you may search your library card for an assembly worker creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Platoon Dispenser. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more other creatures, draw a card. You may pay 4 or create a colorless soldier artifact creature token, and you can unearth this for 4. Limdual Adept. Veteran Motorist. There's a car? When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. When Veteran Motorist crews a vehicle, that vehicle gets +1/+1 till end of turn. There's cars. That's a shock. How dare they do that in Magic? We just want robots that become cars. That's all I want, at least. I'm the dissident voice. Oh, it's the trainer person? Takasta, Dig-Site Mentor. Yeah, trainer. See? Mentor. Same difference. Raise to the ground. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target artifact. If its mana value is 1 or less, draw a card. Lauren's Escape. Target artifact or creature gains hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Scry 1. Jixian Infiltrator. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on the Infiltrator. Sardian Cliff Stomper. For as long as it's your turn and you control 4 or more mountains, the Cliff Stomper gets +X/+0, where X is the number of mountains you control. Abalist Engineers. When they enter the battlefield, choose 1. You can either deal 1 damage to any target, and give it a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and it gains trample and haste till end of turn. You can create a tapped Power Stone creature token. Battery Bearer. Creatures you control become Power Stones for the most part. Whenever you cast an artifact spell with mana value 6 or more, draw a card. Sarnith Steel Speaker. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put the card in your hand, you may put it into the graveyard. Ornithopter again. Pristine Talisman. 1 mana, gain a life. Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. Tap to add 2 mana of any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creature cards. Whenever you cast a creature spell with 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia, and untap it. Argivian Avenger. Pay 1 until end of turn. Argivian Avenger gets -1 and gains 1 of those 4 abilities there: Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Haste. So you can make it a 1/1 with all of that stuff. Power Stone. Power Stone. Oh, I signed Urza card. That's the that's the Meld Urza, I think. Ravenous Gigamole, we see in that one. Dwarven Forge Chanter. Ward, pay 2 life. Prowess. Okay, nothing good. Stone Retrieval Unit. When it ETBs, create a tapped Power Stone. Mightstone's Automation. Enchant Artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Target enchanted artifact is a creature with a base power toughness 4/4 in addition to its other types. Survivor of Corliss. First strike. Exile Survivor of Corliss from your graveyard by paying 2 and scry 2. Obliterating Bolt. Blundering Bolt deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead. Jotun Frontliner. When it attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Third pass, Iconoclast. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Millstone. Pay 2, target player mills 2 cards. Fade from history. Each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token, and you destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Coastal Bulwark. Defender. Gets +2/+0 as long as you control an island. Pay 2 to surveil 1. And there was a zombie token on the back of that. Wow. There we go. 20 armor. Siege Veteran. Island. Pentagon Strongbow. Sacrifice an artifact. Pentagon Strongbow gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. Machine over Matter. Dispel 1 cost, 1 less to cast if you control an artifact creature. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Boulderback Golem. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to its power. Ambush Power Trooper. Flash Flying. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for 5 mana. Yeesh. Pelagie Vanguard. Whenever another creature enters... Stop floating. Stop being on a little air pocket. Whenever Pelagie Vanguard or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Jotun Tactician. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1. Zephyr Sentinel. Flash Flying. When it ETBs, return up to 1 target creature you control to its owner's hand. That was a soldier. Put a +1/+1 counter on the Sentinel. Terror Ballista. Menace. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. That goes there. That goes there. Liquid Metal Coating. In the schematic art. Target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. Llanowar Waste. Costa Onulet token. We're making progress. Making it. I really need more of the Transformers token. Helm of the Host, schematic art. Swamp. Mishra's Domination. Enchant creature. As long as you control enchanted creature, it gets +2/+2. Otherwise, it can't block. Third pass Savant. 7 mana to draw 2 cards. Yikes. Scatter Ray. Counter target artifact or creature spell unless its controller pays 4. Gia's Courser. Whenever Gia's Courser attacks, there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard. Draw a card. Steel Exemplar. Trample. Steel Exemplar enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it unless 2 or more colors were spent to cast it. Spectrum Sentinel. Whenever non-basic land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. Great Desert Prospector. When Great Desert Prospector enters the battlefield, create a tap Power Stone token for each other creature you control. Horn Stoneseeker. When it enters the battlefield, create a tap Power Stone token and it has Menace. When it would leave the battlefield, sacrifice a Power Stone. Phyrexian Revoker, again. Lauren of the Third Path. When Lauren enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact and or enchantment. You and target opponent each draw a card. I feel like that'll be really useful in Commander, because you can destroy a bad thing and then help out, like, the lesser person, unless you're the lesser person. Like, the person who's not ahead. Phyrexian Processor. Plains. Disenchant. Classic reprint. Destroy target artifact enchantment. Power Plant Worker. Pay 3. Gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control creature's name, Mine Worker, Tower Worker, put a +1/+1 counter instead of +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn. Mine Worker. You gain 1 life. If you control the other workers, you gain 3. Kolos Rock. Flying Flash. When an ETBs, create a tap Power Stone creature token. No, not a creature. Create a Power Stone. Tap Power Stone token. Battlefield Butcher, we've seen you. Static Neck, we've seen you. Fyric Blast, we've seen you. Ah, Megatron Tyrant. So, opponents can't cast spells during your combat. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may convert Megatron. If you do so, add colorless for each 1 life loss your opponent's lost this turn. When you convert him, you get... Whenever Megatron attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact. And when you do, Megatron deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to target creature. If excess damage would be dealt to that creature this way, instead the damage is dealt to the creature's controller. And you convert Megatron. Wait a minute. So you can actually do these in a row? So you do this. Sack the thing. You might make some mana. You sack the thing, you do the damage. When you do the damage, it hits, so it's on attack trigger. Then this one is on the main phase. So then you can literally do this. Beginning of your main phase, you must convert. So I convert him on attack when he does damage, and then I convert him back on my next main phase? Is that how that works? It seems pretty good. Chromatic Star, we've seen that one. Oh, sweet. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. This is the other one I didn't have. Now I just need the green legendary creature lady that becomes the green meld card. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Double strike. Whenever Dragon Engine enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. And it's unearthed for 5. Symmetry Matrix. Whenever a creature with power equal to its toughness enters the battlefield, you pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Tokens. Urza's Command. Whatever that looks like. Island. Weakstone Subjugation. Enchant artifact or creature. When Weakstone Subjugation enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, tap Enchanted Permanent. Enchanted Permanent doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Mishra's Juggernaut. Trample. Attacks each combat if able. 5/3. Unearth for 6. Coastal Bulwark. Giant Growth. Target creature gets +3/+3 till end of turn. Good old classic. Phalanx Vanguard. Vigilance. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Phalanx Vanguard gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Philagi Excavation. Create 3 tapped Power Stone tokens, you gain 3 life. Urza, Power Stone Prodigy. Vigilance, draw a card, then discard a card if you pay 1 mana. Whenever you discard 1 or more artifacts, you create a tapped Power Stone token. Ability only triggers once each turn. That's sad. Argivian Avenger. Until end of turn, Argivian Avenger hits +1/+1, -1/-1. Oh, we did that one already. Springleaf Drum. Tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. Cityscape Leveler. Trample. You can cast this spell whenever you cast this spell, and whenever Cityscape Leveler attacks, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a Power Stone token, and you can unearth it for 8. Prison Sentence. Enchanted creature. When Prison Sentence enters the battlefield, scry 2. Enchanted creature can't attack, block, or activate triggered or activated abilities. Well, activated abilities. That's the words. Come on, words. Find the words. Find the words. Hooah. Foundry Inspector. In schematic as well. I love that card. I don't know why. I really just do. Deadly Riposte. Deadly Riposte deals 3 damage to target tapped creature. You gain 2 life. Argothian Sprite. Can't be blocked by artifact creature. Pay 7, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Yikes. Urza's Rebuff. Choose 1. Counter target spell or tap up to 2 target creatures. Tomakul's Honor Guard. Ward 2. 1/1. 3/1. Reconstruct the Thopter. Flying. Unearth for 2. It's 2/1. Mishra. Excavation Prodigy. That didn't go there. Haste. Pay 1. Tap, discard a card, draw a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more artifact, make 2 red mana. This ability triggers only once per turn. Symmetry Matrix. If seen in Altered Dimension, sack a creature. Target player mills cards equal to activated creature's power. Sacrifice creature's power. Blackblade Reforge. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Equipped to a legend for 3 or equipped to anything else for 7. Blast Zone. Blast Zone enters the battlefield with a charge counter on it. You can tap and then get a colorless out of it. You can pay double X and put X charge counters on Blast Zone. Pay 3, sacrifice Blast Stone, destroy each non-land permanent with value equal to the number of charge counters on it. Tower Worker. Reach. Yeah, tap for a colorless. If you control the other workers, Mine Worker and Power Plant Worker, you get 3 colors. Power Stone token. There we go. Whoa. What do we got? What do we got? Alright, what is this? Ball of Krug. Krug. Tower Worker. Shoot down. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Rock Hunter. Reach. Aeronaut's Wings. Target creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. Defabricate, we've seen. Flagstone Refinery, we've seen. Forging the Anchor, we've seen. Cave Guard. Scrap Trawler. Whenever a Scrap Trawler or another artifact you control was put in the graveyard, return to your hand target artifact card from your graveyard with lesser mana value. Useful. Thanos, the Toy Maker. So, whenever you cast a beast or bird creature spell, you may copy it, except the copy is an artifact in addition to its other types. Hero of the Dunes. When Hero of the Dunes enters the battlefield, return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Creatures you control with mana value 3 or less get +1/+0. Power Stone token. Here. Making space. Making space. Defense Grid. Forest. It's organized. Blitz Automation. Oh, do we see this one? Just haste. Prototype card. 6/4 or 3/2. Epic Confrontation. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Fights target creature you don't control. Rust Goliath. Reach Trample. 10 or 5 for a 3/5 or a 10/10. Dredging Claw. A crypt creature gets +1/+0 and has menace. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may equip the Dredging Claw to it. It's a 1 and a black to equip it normally. Jataxian Skullflare. Beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on the Skullflare. Thran Vigil. Whenever 1 or more artifact or creature cards leave the graveyard during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Meticulous Excavation. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. If it has unearthed, instead exile it, then return the card to its owner's hand. Activate only during your turn. Giant Cindermaw. Trample. Players can't gain life. Liquid Metal Coating again in the non-fancy. Painful Quandary. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. Dredging Claw again. Bear. That's actually a really badass looking bear. It's like busted up the machine. Who knew? Bears beat machines. Well, probably everybody but me. Well, that's a guy with funny wings. Air Marshal. Swamp. Sibling Rivalry. Gain control of target artifact or creature until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. Create a tap Power Stone token. Bitter Reunion. We've seen you. Overwhelming Remorse. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your graveyard. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Gix Caress. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an online card from it. The player discards that card. Create a tap Power Stone token. Flow of Knowledge. Draw a card for each island you control, then discard 2 cards. Mask of the Jade Crafter. Pay X and sacrifice to create an XX colorless golem artifact creature token. Activate only as a sorcery, and you can unearth it for 3. Alloy Animist. Until end of turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature token. Jaloon's Tome. Draw a card, then discard a card. Ichor Wellspring. When an ETBs or leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Kaela's Command. Choose 2. Create a 2/2 colors construct artifact creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. It gains double strike until end of turn. Search your library for basic plans, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle. You gain 2 life and scry 2. Ironclaw Crusher. Ghastly Transformation. Enchant creature. When Ghastly Transformation enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanting creature has Intimidate. That's actually kind of useful. Can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or creatures that share a color with it. That's what Intimidate does. Gotcha. Hercules, Master Wizard. Island. Gnawroot, Pallbearer. Trample. When it ETBs, target creature gets +X/+X on the turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Gaia's Gift. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains reach, trample, hexproof, and indestructible till end of turn. Moment of Defiance. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Draw a card. Repair and Recharge. Turn target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker card from a graveyard to the battlefield and create a tapped Power Stone token. Oh, that might be useful for my Guile deck, because I need to find ways to get Vesuvan Duplimancy back out of the graveyard. Even if it's 5 and it's back, it's back. Ashnod's Harvester. When Ashnod's Harvester attacks, exile target card from a graveyard. Keeper of the Cadence. 3. Put a target artifact, instant, or sorcery card from a graveyard to the bottom of its owner's library. Thran Power Suit. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it and has Ward 2. Equip 2. Audacity. Enchanted Creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has Trample. When Audacity is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. The Foundry Inspector artifact spells cost 1 less to cast. Ashnod Flesh Merchant. Death Touch. Whenever Flesh... Not Merchant. Mechanist. Whenever Ashnod Flesh Mechanist attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do so, create a tap Power Stone token. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a tap 3/3 color zombie artifact creature turn. Precursor Golem. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/3/3. Oh, I remember this thing, yeah. Create 2/3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens. When a player casts an instant sorcery spell that targets only a single one, that player copies that spell for each other golem that has, and that spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those golems. Power Stone. Get that out and make Microsynth Lattice and everything's a golem. And I'm sure then you can do funny, degenerate things. Something like that. Whoa, let's see what we got. Chromatic Lantern. Plains. Stern Lesson. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. Create a tap Power Stone. Casa Dig Site. Colorless, pay 3 to surveil 1. Killzone Acrobat. Hey, I could say it today. Whenever Killzone Acrobat attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, Killzone Acrobat gains flying until end of turn. Hoarding Recluse. We've seen that one. Argothian Opportunist. When it enters the battlefield, create a tap Power Stone token. Blanchwood Armor. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature you control gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. Bushwhack. Choose one. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Levitating Statue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Levitating Statue. Levitating Statue becomes a 1/1 construct artifact until end of turn. Quietus Spike. Oh, we've seen that one again. Fauna Shaman. Discard a creature card, search your library for creature card, reveal it. Put it in your hand and shuffle. Mishra's Onslaught. Create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, or creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. A generic desert. Desert. What is this? It is nothing. Lewis Rossman. What is that? Tacosta's Welcome. This is the one I need. I need the Tacosta's Welcome. That's the welcoming vampire, but as an enchantment. So, hopefully this is a sign that I'm going to get a couple in the last 5 packs. Gorging Warplow, Death Touch, 5/4. Mishra's Onslaught, we've just seen that one. Disfigure, reprint, I believe. Target creature gets +2 or -2/-2 till end of turn. Depth Charge Colossus doesn't untap. We've seen that. Mishra's Research Desk. Sacrifice Mishra's Research Desk. Exile the top 2 cards of your library and choose one of them. Till the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Lauren, Disciple of History. Whenever Lauren, Disciple of History, or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Hero of the Dunes, we've seen you. Goblin Charbelcher. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Goblin Charbelcher deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target. If revealed land card with a mountain, Goblin Charbelcher deals double damage instead. Put the revealed cards in the bottom of your library in any order. Self-assembler, we've seen you. Duraf, founder of Latnam. Return a target artifact you control to its owner's hand. Copy target artifact spell you control. That's neat. Pyric Blast, and then what's a Skullwinder? When Skullwinder enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Then choose an opponent. That player returns target card from their graveyard to their hand. Alright, we're getting there. There's a card again. Plains. Scrapwork Mutt. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Scrapwork Cohort. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 color soldier artifact creature token. Scrapwork Rager. Whenever it enters the battlefield, draw a card, you lose 1 life. Aeronaut Cavalry. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, with a +1/+1 counter on target soldier you control. Hulking Megamorph, we've seen. It's a nice, fun card. Heavyweight Demolisher, we've seen. I don't know if we've seen the... Yep, amount of mana equal. Aha, Rescue Retriever. The Doggy. When it enters the battlefild, you put a +1/+1 counter on each soldier you control. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to other attacking soldiers you control. Soul Guide Lantern. On ETBs, exile target card from a graveyard. You can tap and sack it to exile each opponent's graveyard. Pay 1 and sack it to draw a card. Harbin Vanguard Aviator. Flying. Whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1, gain flying till end of turn. Grand Vigil and the soldier token. Let's see what we got. Wow, Karian Locust, Blanchwood Prowler, Retrieval Agent, Calamity's Wake, Lay Down Arms, Gruesome Realization. Choose 1, draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Creatures your opponents... Oh, we've not seen that one. Combat Thresher, we've seen. Crusher, Golem. I don't think we're seeing any new stuff. Over the Top, that's his name. Each player reveals a number of cards from the top of their library equal to the number of non-land permanents they control. Put all permanent cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then put the rest into the graveyard. Oh, that's a lot. Trench Stalker, Power Stone. Guess I'm not getting my welcoming card, and I'm going to have to go buy them. They're probably really cheap. This is the Island. Oh, with a robot. Island. Not the one I want. Recommission. Strapsmith. Commando. Drake. Clay. Dragon. Gurglings. Elsewhere Flash. 1 at ETBs. Draw a card. Sacrifice the flask and you choose a basic land type. Each land you control becomes that type until end of turn. Skitterbeam Battalion. When Skitterbeam Battalion enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you create 2 tokens that are copies of it. That's, I guess, okay. Power Stone Engineer. When it dies, create a Power Stone. That's not that. Yeah, we've seen that one before, eh? Really sad that I only got like 3 Transformers so far. Kayla's Command. Emergency Welding, we've seen. Blade. This reminds me of one of the early packs. This reminds me exactly like the first pack. Arms Race. That might be new. When you put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield, that artifact gains haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Ornithopter. Queen Kala Bin Krug. Pay 4. Discard cards. All the cards in your hand. You may draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1. You discard it this way. If you do, then do the same for artifact or creature cards with mana value 2 and 3. Return those cards to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Narroot Pallbearer. We've seen you. Alright. Let's see what we got. Come on. More Transformers. Argothian Opportunist. Forest. Warlord's Elite. Constricted Infantry. Supply Drop. Unleash Shell. Recruitment Officer. Have we seen you today? Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. It's 4 manas. Jotun Dissidence. Mass Production. Woodcaller Automation. I don't think this is a different one. I don't feel I've seen this. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you found me. Yeah, I'm just trying to find them. I'm trying to build all of them on my Mox field. But thanks for watching. So this is a woodcaller automation. When woodcaller automation enters the battlefield, if you cast it, untap target land you control, it becomes a tree folk creature with haste and base power and toughness equal to the woodcaller automation's power and toughness, and it's still a land. Alright. Fair. Bonesaw. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, and it's equip 1. Steel Seraph. Flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains chance of flying, a vigilance, and lifelink until end of turn. Unleash Shell. This is a deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and then 2 damage to the controller. Nothing there. Alright. That's all that's there for the set booster. But now let's go where the Transformers really are. They're one per pack in here. At least. Sometimes more. So, I definitely am getting 12. Hoping to get the Shattered Glass Cyclonus. Ultra Magnus would be cool. I'm not hitting the microphone. Sorry about that. Yeah, Megatron in Shattered Glass would be good because the Shattered Glass universe, I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, this is the original toy from when I was a child. So this is like probably 30, 33, 34 years old. And then this is a reissue Hot Rod that came out a few years ago. But I do also have my original. That doesn't look much different. It just actually is missing the rubber on the tires. Not sure how I didn't destroy it further as a little kid, but yeah, that's a G1 Hot Rod, and then that's an original Soundwave that I actually found yesterday in my basement. Alright, let's see. We got Chantel Stalwart. Tap untapped artifact creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color. Philology Archaeologist. Enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You may put a non-creature, non-land card this way. Put a counter. Let's see. Wasteful Harvest. Mill 5 cards. You put a permanent card from among your cards. Mill this way into your hand. Ashnod's Intervention. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, put it into its owner's hand. Hero of the Dunes. Enters the battlefield. Return target artifact creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Creatures you control with mana value 3 or less get +1/+0. Obliterating Bolt. Deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead. On to the good stuff. Robot Island. Hercule, Master Wizard. There's a lot of words on here. At the beginning of your next end step, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. For each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn, you may put a card of that type among the revealed cards into your hand from the rest in the bottom in any order. Clay Champion. When it enters the battlefield, you have 3 +1/+1 counters for each 2 green spent to cast. Enters the battlefield with 2 other target. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 2 other target creatures you control. For each 2 white spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on each of them. Farid Enterprising Salvager. Whenever a non-token artifact you control enters when it is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a colorless artifact token named Scrap. Oh, this is that card. The Scrap does absolutely nothing. Sacrifice an artifact, choose, put +1/+1 counter on this guy. It gains menace until end of turn. Go target creature or discard a card, then draw a card. That is a commander card. Elsewhere Flask. ETBs, draw a card, sacrifice it, make all your lands 1 type. Ornithopter, flying. Inspiring Statuary. Non-artifact spells you cast get improvise. And we got RC, the first Transformer. First strike, remove one or more +1/+1 counters from RC, deals that much damage to target creature, then you convert RC. The backside of RC is whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more creatures or vehicles you control, put that many 1/1 counters on RC. So RC I feel like is like kind of one of the weaker ones. It's Boros, so it's definitely going to be attack based. I don't know how good. I mean, Prowess, maybe the Prowess and Mentor stuff might work if there's a way to give her that. I gotta look more. That's the one I looked into probably the least, is RC. I'm currently looking at Soundwave and Cyclonus because they seem like they're fun and possibly pretty gross. Draw cards equal to the mana value of target artifact or creature you control. Opponent gains control of that permanent. Fateful Handoff. Give your stuff away. Alright, you know what? We're just going to skip the commons for the most part. Mineworker, Rust Goliath, Bitter Reunion, Clay Revenant, Corrupt, Calamity's Wake. Calamity's Wake is probably the most playable out of all of those. Swamp. Argoth, Sanctum of Nature. This is the flip card for the green legendary. I still need the other part. This is like the 4th Argoth I've gotten, but no legendary creature. So, when it enters the battlefield tapped, unless you control a legendary green creature. Tap to add green. Pay 4, you create a 2/2 green bear creature token and mill 3 cards. Activate only as a sorcery. Fade from history. Each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates 2/2 green bear creature token. You destroy all artifacts or enchantments. The Archimerandite. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus 4. Whenever you gain life, each advisor, artificer, or monk you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Tap 3 untapped advisors, artificers, and or monks you control to draw a card. That is a commander card. Springleaf Drum. Tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 or more mana of any color. Jowlin Tome. Inspiring Sanctuary. So we get the improvised thing back. Blitzwing. I don't have a Blitzwing yet. This is good. Surprised I don't have a Blitzwing yet, but this is... At the beginning of your end step, target opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. No life was lost this way, convert Blitzwing. So it's a wound reflection on one side, which is won me a few games in other decks I have. And then the back is, at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose Flying Indestructible Flying or Indestructible at random. Blitzwing gains that ability till end of turn. When he deals combat damage, convert him. I'm not sure he's the best commander. I mean, the life loss thing is good and useful, but he's a mono black, and yeah. But I mean, he's the same cost as Wound Reflection, so that's kind of not that bad if you want more of that effect. Well of Lost Dreams. Whenever you gain life, you pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained if you do draw X cards. Power Stone and a Soldier. Soldier Boy. I feel like Starstream could be fun with the way he's built. He has the give your opponent the monarch, and then he's trying to steal it back, like in the movie. Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Sacrifice him. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible till end of turn. Tessarian Mindbreaker. When it attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded up. Machine God's Effigy. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's an artifact and has tap to add blue. Boundary Inspector. Artifacts cost 1 less. Sigil of Valor. Equipped creature attacks alone. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other creature you control. That's good for Megatron, I think. It'll do more damage. Chromatic Lantern. All lands, tap for everything, and add 1 mana of any color. Goldbug. There we go. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking humans you control. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, convert Goldbug into human spells you control can't be countered. Whenever Goldbug and at least 1 human attack, draw a card and convert Goldbug. Hell yeah. Phyrexian Processor. As an enters the battlefield, pay any amount of life. Then you could pay 4 and create XX black Phyrexian minion creature token where X is the life paid. That seems like it could be ridiculous. Ridiculous. Alright. See what we got. Juggernaut, Tower, Whirling. Disciples. Still not the welcoming card I want. Hostile Negotiation. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Face down pile, then exile the top 3 cards of your library in a different face down pile. Look at the cards in each pile, then turn 1 pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile in your hand, the other onto the graveyard. You lose 3 life. Siege Veteran. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Ashnod the Uncaring, the secondary face commander in the Mishra deck. Death Touch. Whenever you activate the ability of an artifact or creature that isn't the mana ability of one or more permanents or sacrifice to activate it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Liquid Metal Coating turns stuff into an artifact. Liquid Metal Coating again, still turning stuff into artifacts. Cloud Key and Soundwave. We got the boy. So whenever one or more creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, exile target instant or sorcery with mana value equal to the damage dealt from their graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, convert Soundwave. And we get a... When you cast an odd mana spell, value spell, convert Soundwave. And if you do, you create Ravage. 3/3 black robot, artifact creature token with Menace and Death Touch. If you cast an even value spell, you create Laserbeak, a 2/2 blue robot artifact with flying and hexproof. Hell yeah. We love robots. Steel Seraph. Beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains your choice of flying, vigilance, or lifelink until end of turn. Power Stone and a Golem. I really wish I got more of the Ravage and stuff tokens, because I haven't gotten... I think I got one of them. And all of this stuff I opened. Not that I mind, I mean I like opening stuff, that's why I'm doing this. But I just wish I got more of, like, the stupid little things. There's a Power Stone Prodigy. Swamp. Mishra, Tamer of Makfawa. Ward, sacrifice all creature permanents you control have wards, sacrifice a permanent. Each artifact card in the graveyard also has unearth for 3. That's gross. Mystery Shadow. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Mystery Shadow gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Sanwell, Avenger Ace. As long as an artifact creature you control is attacking, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Sanwell, Avenger Ace. When he becomes tagged, exile the top 6 cards of your library. You may cast a vehicle or artifact spell from among them. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. So you get some nice card advantage with that one. Burnished Heart. Pay 3. Get 2 lands. Metal Coating. Another Helm of the Host. Beginning of combat. On your turn, create a token of a copy of a equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary, and if the equipped creature is legendary, that token also gains haste. Megatron. We've played with Megatron before. Beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may convert Megatron. If you do, you add a colorless for each 1 life your opponent's lost this turn. The other side, you can, when he attacks, you can sacrifice a creature to deal damage equal to its mana value to a target. And if it goes over the target creature's power, then you can... It flows onto the controller, and then you convert Megatron again. Diabolic Intent. Addition to cast a spell, sack a creature, and then Demonic Tutor it. Temporal Anchor. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards in the bottom of your library while scrying, exile them from the bottom of the library. During your turn, you may play those cards exiled with the Temporal Anchor. Terror Ballista. Menace. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. Ornithopter. Ecor Wellspring. Goblin Charbelcher. My boy Cyclonus. So when Cyclonus deals combat damage, he is flying, and when he deals combat damage to a player, it connives, and if he has power 5 or greater, you convert it. So whenever the backside does combat damage to a player, you convert it, and if you do, you get an additional beginning phase. So you get a whole new upkeep, untap, draw, which is pretty sweet. Astral Cornucopia enters the battlefield with X charge counters on it. Choose a color. Add 1 mana of that color for each counter on the Cornucopia. Power Stone and the zombie. Get it done. Chain Dancers, Wrecksmith, Power Blade, Demolisher, Steel Seeker. Still no Thranos Welcoming or whatever it was called. One with the Multiverse. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play land cards You may play lands, cast spells from the top of your library. During each of your turns, you may cast one spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost. Hall of Taigen. Add a colorless, or pay 1 and add a mana of any color, or pay 4, create a tap Power Stone. March of Progress. Choose target artifact creature you control. For each creature chosen this way, create a token that's a copy of it, and you can overload it. This goes over there. Chromatic Star, sacrifice. Ichor Wellspring, I got a lot of them. Mazemind Tome. Put a page counter on Mazemind Tome, scry 1. Pay 2 and tap. Put a page counter on Mazemind Tome and draw him a card. When there are 4 or more page counters on Mazemind Tome, exile it. If you do, gain a life. That's it? Seems kind of weak. Grand Spider, we've seen. Power Stone. Optimus Prime, at the beginning of your end step, bolster 1. When he dies, return him to the battlefield under its owner's control. Keep sacking Optimus. Trample. When you attack, bolster 2. The chosen creature gains trample until end of turn. That creature deals combat damage to a player. If that creature deals combat to a player, convert Optimus Prime. Nice. Alright. I still have no Shattered Glass yet, though. That makes me sad. More shimmy. Firebomb. Flames. Kayla's Reconstruction. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put X artifact or creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom in any order. Random order. Hercule Master Wizard. Saw it before. Disciple of Silius Nin. Disciple of Silius Nin enters the battlefield starting with you. Each player chooses up to 5 permanents they control. All permanents other than Silius Nin weren't chosen phase out, and permanents can't phase in. So there goes your Teferi's Protection. Good luck. Sigil of Valet. Pristine Talisman. Thorn of Amherst. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Prowl. We've seen a Prowl already. When he attacks, exile 1 other target tapped creature or vehicle. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owners may play it. When the player casts a card, exile the Prowl, draw a card, and convert Prowl. When another creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowl. This is the second time this ability has happened this turn. Convert Prowl back. Blackblade. Power Stone. I really hope my 2 Shattered Glasses are in this one. Hey, Laserbeak. Sweet. You go with the Transformers. Fly Drop. Chaplain. Warplow. Prison Sentence. Man, still no. None of that card I can't remember the name of. Faithful Handoff. Kayla's Command. I've seen these. Wire Surgeons. This one's different. Fear. Each artifact, creature card in your graveyard has Encore. Its Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. Mishra's Bauble. Sacrifice the Bauble at the top card of the player's library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. Artifact spells cost 1 less to cast. Thorn of Amherst. We just saw that. Blaster. Combat DJ. Other non-token artifact creatures and vehicles you control have modular 1. They enter the battlefield with additional 1/1 counter on them. When they die, you may put their counter somewhere else. Whenever you put 1 or more 1/1 counters on Blaster, you can convert it. In Modular 3, you move X 1/1 counters from Blaster to another target artifact. That artifact gains haste till end of turn. Blaster has no counter 1/1s on him. Convert it. Activate only as a sorcery. Quicksilver Amulet. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield for 4 mana. I'm really getting worried that I'm not going to have my Shattered Glass, Cyclonus, or Soundwave. Survivor of Korlos. None of these are what I'm looking for. Forest. Temporal Anchor we've seen. Fortified Beachhead. Enters the battlefield, you may reveal a soldier card from your hand. Fortified Beachhead enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal a soldier card this way, or you control a soldier card, so you don't have to reveal. Geology Enthusiast. At the beginning of your end step, create a tap Power Stone token. Pay 6, draw a card, and put +1/+1 counter on Geology Enthusiast. Ichor Wellspring, Chromatic Star, Mazemind Tome, Ratchet. Whenever you gain life, you may convert Ratchet. When you do, return target artifact card mana value less than or equal to the amount of life gained this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And I'm sure, and yeah, you may convert Ratchet. That's what it says. Lifelink. Whenever 1 or more non-token artifacts you control are put into the graveyard from the battlefield, convert Ratchet. This ability triggers only once each turn. Lauren of the Third Path. Power Stone with a bear. I'm really disappointed I only get 1 Shattered Glass. That is lame. And then, bam. Island, Steel Seraph. We've seen you. Llanowar Waste. Ah, finally. Tatiana, Nature's Forest. You may play Forest from your graveyard. Oh, this isn't that thing. I thought it was the Meld card. Damn it. It's this commander card. So you may play Forest from your graveyard. Whenever Forest enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Whenever an elemental you control dies, you mill 3 cards. Damn it. I thought that was the one. Flame War, Brash Veteran. Sacrifice another artifact with a +1/+1 counter on Flame War and convert it. Activate only as a sorcery. Discard your hand. Put all exiled card this way you own with intel counters on them into your hand. Ramos Dragon Engine. Whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors, or remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos and get Wooburg twice. It's not bad. And the last one. Come on, Shattered Glass. Come on. Like 4 Shattered Glass, please. Man. Seems like the worst box. Mishra, claimed by Gix. The top half of the Mishra. So whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Attacking creatures. If Mishra, claimed by Gix, and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking you both, and you own both, and control them, exile them, meld them into Mishra, lost to Phyrexia, and it enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So that's the other half of this that I luckily got in the previous box. Kayla's Reconstruction we've seen. Blast Furnace, Hellkite. Artifact Offering, Flying Double Strike. Creatures attacking your opponents have Double Strike. Schematic Swiftwood Boots. Mishra's Bauble. Chromatic Lantern. Ah, Joe, we got a Jetfire. That's cool. More than meets the eye. Flying. Remove 1 or more +1/+1 counters from among our artifacts you control. Target player adds that much colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Convert Jetfire. Living Metal Flying. Convert Jetfire. Then Adapt 3, which I believe puts counters on stuff. I don't know. Only dealt with Adapt once or twice. When a soldier you attack with 5 or more soldiers. Oh, we've seen this guy. Power Stone, Soldier. And that is it. I'm kind of bummed that I only got 1 Shattered Glass card. Usually you get like 2 or 3 per box. And I only got the 1 as the last one. But thanks for watching, if anybody's still there. I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll do this more.